It is my honor to shortly introduce our team who will be presenting information to you about this wonderful program. What I can tell you about this program, it is the first of its kind in the nation. We started this with T-Mobile, started with the Edmonds School District. Seattle School District is now also a partner. But outside of our local area, the only place that this is even starting to develop is in Kansas City. So this is a very unique opportunity that you as Edmonds School District students are very fortunate to have access to. So tonight we're going to cover some specifics about the program. We're going to introduce you to some college faculty, which will talk about the pathway options available within this unique program. And then we'll cover information about the elements of the program and information about an upcoming open house event that you are invited to, and we will encourage you to attend if you are continue to be interested in the program. But first I want to introduce our guests tonight who are speaking. I'll start with Remy Crespo with T-Mobile. And Remy has been involved with us over this past couple years in terms of representing T-Mobile and helping shape this experience to be as positive and as impactful for you as students as possible. Kristen is on her way, another one of our T-Mobile partners. Cathy Jackson, another one of our partners. I don't know if she is going to make it tonight, but as well. Ann is with Edmonds College, Director of Business Outreach. Vernon Hawkins. Vernon is new to us this year, a Dean of Business and Continuing Ed for Edmonds College. Mark Enfield. Mark is with college faculty, and you'll hear from him shortly about one of the elements of the program. Frank Kadwell. Frank also is an Edmonds College faculty member who you'll be hearing from. Vanessa Edwards, who is just right over here. Vanessa works with me in the Edmonds School District. She is our Career Connected Learning Coordinator and Business Partnership Coordinator. And so she will be connecting with those students who are selected and working with you over the course of your time with us and then as you move on to the college. So as I mentioned, this is a very unique program. The program developed as a collaboration among T-Mobile, our business industry partner, Edmonds School District, Edmonds College, and the Washington Alliance for Better Schools. And this very much is a collaborative partnership. There is no one member that is driving the ship. We all have our hands on the wheels and we meet regularly to coordinate and develop this program. And it is very unique in its design and its intention. So all of you are in the midst of kind of exploring the paths you want to take from high school and beyond. And many of the paths that you are looking at, I would call very traditional. For instance, you're probably all aware about the four-year degree path. You leave high school, you go to a four-year college, you get a bachelor's degree or bachelor's of arts, bachelor of science, and then you go into the workforce while accumulating, I would say, a lot of debt. There are two-year degrees in our community and technical colleges. That is the bread and butter of the community technical college system. And those are short-term degrees as well as certificates that allow you to train specifically for a field and enter that field much sooner than you would going, for instance, the four-year path. The certificate programs are shorter. They tend to be 1, sometimes 2 years. And again, that is a industry credential that you walk away with that verifies that you have the skill sets and training to step right into a job in an industry from a variety of industry areas. And then you may have also heard of apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are basically on-the-job training, or what we call earn as you learn. So you are going to school while working and being paid. what I'm going to talk to you about is kind of a hybrid of some of these, and it's what we call a career launch program. And a career launch program is what I call a fast track into the workforce. And it's similar to apprenticeship in that it includes both an education element at the post-secondary level, as well as a earn while you learn element with the industry partner. And you're going to hear about that in terms of the summer worksite paid experience that's part of the program. But a fast track program allows you to accelerate your training to get into fields that typically might require from other companies a 4-year degree, but it allows you to train quicker and under the close mentorship and supervision of the industry partner, so that in 2 years you are ready to step right into a well-paying, livable wage job in IT. And that's the program we're going to be talking to you about tonight, and what we call career launch. And so, really quickly, to give you an overview of the program, the first thing that you'll need to keep in mind is this is a 2-year program and a 2-year commitment. This is not about a summer internship. This is about getting started on a 2-year path that prepares you to step into a position with T-Mobile in either full stack development, and you'll learn about these in a moment, cybersecurity, or UX, UI design. The program begins with, at the end of your junior year and in the summer between your junior and senior year, you begin your training at T-Mobile in what we call a paid worksite learning experience. You're there on the campus, you are working with a manager and a mentor, you are shadowing and learning on the job about the industry and about T-Mobile, and you're learning from professionals there that you're working alongside. Once you've completed the summer program and then you enter your senior year, then you will start taking courses towards your college training certificate. And you're going to do that through Running Start. And the requirement is that your senior year, each quarter, you're going to take one foundation course that applies to any of the 3 pathways within this program that I referenced: full stack development, cybersecurity, UI design. You don't need to choose your path, but you'll take those foundation courses, and you'll take 1 each quarter. Then, upon completion of your senior year and graduating high school, then you enter your second worksite learning experience at T-Mobile. Again, paid worksite learning experience. Again, it's all part of the training program and commitment. And then following that summer, the fall after you graduate from high school, you will then go on to Edmonds College and you will complete one of the 3 certificates that you will choose based on what you learn about those programs. And you'll pick one to focus on. And in a year after completing that certificate, you will then be guaranteed an interview with T-Mobile. And to enter opportunities in the workforce in those areas. So, but it is a full meal deal. So you're committing to the full 2-year program. So this program is really designed for those that have a strong commitment and interest to enter the workforce as quickly as possible with rapid training within 2 years. It is not a resume builder for someone who is looking to go to a 4-year university and just put down that they did an internship. That is not the person we're looking for. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Just understand this program is not designed for that. We're committing to students who are looking for that 2-year program and will commit to finishing it. I'll start with the first element of the paid worksite learning experience between the junior and senior year. And Remy, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about what that's like.
Hi, Hi everyone, thanks for being here. So it's pretty exciting. You get to come to T-Mobile for your first summer. It's going to be an 8-week program, and you're working directly with managers who are potentially in the career path that you want to follow, whether it's cybersecurity, UX, UI design, or full stack development. So a lot of folks don't get this kind of experience or inside look into headquarters and the day-to-day, because that's the most common question I get from all applicants. What does a day in the life look like? So you have the opportunity to, before you start taking classes, understand what does a day in the life look like. So you'll do some on-the-job shadow training where you just watch people do what they do. You shadow them and get to ask questions as they attend meetings, as they build software programs, maybe do pen testing in cybersecurity. You get to just watch and do it. And then closer towards the end of the summer, you're gonna have the opportunity to get some hands-on training and start completing some of these projects. Start being able to execute some of those processes that you learned. Let's see what's next on the list. When does it start and end? So it's going to start in June, so the week after 4th of July, June 10th, and it's gonna end September 1st. July, sorry. I said a week after 4th of July, and yet I said June. Thank you. And what is the hourly pay rate? It's really competitive what we pay. Does anybody want to guess? Any guesses out there at what you would pay to get to just learn? $15? That's a great guess.
Not $15.
Oh, not $15? Well, it's higher than that, right? So each participant gets paid $20 an hour. And then other information, as Mark mentioned, this program is unique. You don't see very many companies saying, hey, come with us, join us in high school, and we have a job that you can interview for at the end of all this. College is tough. Not everybody can afford it. The great thing about this program is that we're giving you the opportunity to learn these skills, figure out, is this the right fit for me, take these courses, get your certificate, and then at the end of it, you have the chance to interview for a full-time job that normally requires a bachelor's degree. Once you get that position and you're full-time with T-Mobile, guess what? We have partnerships with schools where you can earn your bachelor's degree. So you're earning your education and you're getting paid at the same time. And you can continue to do your bachelor's degree with Edmonds as well. So it's really just a great opportunity overall. Are we good?
Thank you, Remy.
Yeah.
All right, and I will be sending a copy of these slides to all of you tomorrow morning. So don't worry if you didn't capture everything we said. I'll be sending these to you so you have it. We want to just take a little bit of time to have you hear from faculty here at the college about the different pathways available. And the first one I'll start with is the full stack developer pathway, and I'll just welcome Mark Enfield. Mark, just advance using that right there.
So I get to talk just a little bit about the full stack developer certificate. Obviously, we jump into just kind of the setting we're finding ourselves in, coming out of the pandemic, realizing that everything or seemingly everything is running on technology. It's exciting, whether again it's doing Zoom, whether it's class, whether it's meetings or Microsoft Teams, or also if it's buying things on Amazon or jumping on social media. We understand, if we didn't before, tech is running the world that we're a part of. And so for me, I get to tell you then, this is a great field to jump into. And as Mark has mentioned, with some of the pathways that you could take, the actual average salary looks really good for the long term. And again, these are average salaries for, again, 5 years and on. People have put some time in, but for me, I get to talk a little bit about the full stack developer or development kind of certificate. And you can see there's a good wage for that. For us at the college, when we talk, we offer the certificate. And when we talk about a full stack developer kind of educational pathway, the thought is that we get to teach you about the front-end programming and the back-end programming. And the front-end programming would include things like, what does the website look like? What kind of JavaScript code was used to make that nav bar do something? Or on the back end, what happens when we do go and buy something on Amazon? How do we get billed? Did they hang on to that information? And so when it comes to the actual back-end part of the full stack developer kind of training, if you will, you learn about databases. You learn about the languages that databases use to actually make them work. So what's fascinating about this particular track is this is application development mixed with some web development. And again, so much of what we do, it's online with apps, it's web-facing or internet-facing. And so having those skills to code, to think through problems and to solve them with the right algorithm is where we're going for the future when it comes to kind of building this platform and using it. For us at the college, again, that means specifically working through courses that include, Microsoft Access to get you into just what a database looks like on a small scale, and then even getting you into things like MySQL and SQL Server. And again, those are database software and also using code that you would need to help kind of build that so that these servers can hold all of our information. Or when you go to Amazon and you start to narrow down on specific things you want to buy, all of that information has to be retrieved from a server, from a database. And so those are skills that you'll obviously be taking classes towards. Again, other things that I've mentioned would be the actual web programming part of it. So what does the front end, the GUI look like? How is it organized? In addition to that, how do we make it flashy? How do we have time that updates? Or again, some sort of hover over and a window pops open. Again, that's JavaScript for you. And so seeing both sides of the equation is crucial. And then throwing in there, you'll end up doing some Python. That's one of the courses you can take. And Python is obviously the bee's knees now for anybody who's kind of following what's going on in tech and some quick programming. So in terms of our certificate, it's 44 credits of core courses, and then another 15 credits of the general requirement courses. And so if I kind of piggyback on what was just said, you'll earn 59 credits, and our 2-year degrees are typically like 90, 95 credits. So if you do this, you've already earned, I'll just ballpark, 2/3 of a 2-year degree. And as an instructor, I always encourage students to keep on learning. So if this opportunity is available that you do this and you do get a job at T-Mobile, and you can keep obviously growing as a student, as a learner, but also build your resume with the actual degree, I certainly would recommend that. In terms of the actual program, the other thing that sticks out, and I'll just go right to this internship. Once you've done certainly some of the coursework, to be able to do an internship or the actual kind of practicum, if you will, this apprenticeship with an amazing company, it's a remarkable opportunity because you're getting this option or opportunity to actually go do this and to actually see what's happening. And so to actually, and they get paid in that, correct? Not the first one, but even the second one, right? Both, right? So to go get paid while in school and have it be very meaningful, it's a win-win-win-win. And so, again, I hate to say I'm overselling this, but it's just a good thing because as an instructor, for me, I'm always trying to figure out how can I get a student to interview with this company to get a foot in the door, to then actually do it, to actually use the skills that they were given in class, that they honed in class, to actually put it to use. Back to our classes, a lot of it's hands-on work, coding, programming, things like that. So that's obviously a wonderful thing. I've got about a minute left. So what I would say, let me go back one slide. A lot of the courses you would take are from the Computer Information Systems Department, but also some of them include courses from the Computer Science Department. And so this is where these kind of worlds are merging as well, where operations is kind of coming in with developing. And so the big thing there is you're going to kind of get this full, well-rounded or kind of a holistic approach when it comes to also learning C++ and learning Java as well. I forgot to mention that. All right, in terms of job possibilities, I think long-term, again, whether it's some sort of developer, whether it's a web developer, a software engineer, those are things that you're being trained towards. And again, I can't say it enough. There's my 5 minutes. It's just an amazing opportunity to get into classes senior year, to be getting college credit that can count towards a certificate, that could go towards a 2-year degree, that can help you at T-Mobile. So that's kind of the full stack developer certificate piece.
And we'll have time at the end for questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and jot them, and all of our presenters will be here at the end to address that. The other second pathway I want to have shared with you is cybersecurity, and that is new to this program for this year. And Vernon, I believe you are going to be speaking to that for us. So Vernon Hawkins. There you go.
Yeah, I'm taking the place tonight of Steve Haley. Steve couldn't be with us tonight. He's a world-renowned Department of Defense specialist in cyber. I always wonder why people want to go to UW or Washington State. We have the person that's best in the country teaching in our cybersecurity program. No one does it better. He and Mike Andrews are the two best at what they do. In fact, we have an agreement with the Department of Defense that we train their cybersecurity specialists. Hey, why don't y'all smile? You act like you're doing a funeral or something. Everybody give me a little smile. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit, but not necessarily about the program. The program is set up just like, all of them are set up the same way. The first 3 classes in each of the programs are gonna be the same, so everyone in the program will kind of be together. Now, we kind of made that change this year. And then what you'll do in the second year, kind of break off and go into your specialty. And especially will either be the stack developer, it'll be the cyber, or it'll be UX, UI design. Now, here's, the other thing, everybody repeat me. Say, show me the money. Here's what it is. I know I can sit here and go through and tell you, 44 hours. You're going to have 15 hours of general education. Y'all don't want to hear that this time. What you want to know is if you come through this program, what does it mean to you financially? Do you want to go to another institution in 2 years and pay all this money out and hope that in 4 years you get a job? Or do you want to go through this program and start getting paid the first summer, get paid the second summer, and by the third summer you move into the workforce? And let me tell you what cybersecurity specialists make, and I'll tell you what they do in a second. They basically start off between 50 and 60 at the low end, and they can go to 168, 180, starting out at the top end. Depending upon how many certifications, because each one of these programs have industry certifications that are tied to them that will be introduced to you as you go through the program. So that by the time you get through the program, we're going to have you ready for those certifications. In fact, if Steve was here, Steve would say by the time you get through with this program, you're going to at least have the first 2 cybersecurity certifications before you even graduate college. That means you get out of college, we're talking about 6 figures. There is no way, maybe you want to go work at a Burger King or Walmart or something like that. I don't want to go through these programs because at the end, I'm going to be getting banked. Oh, thank you. You're going to be getting paid. So, you did? Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So just know that cybersecurity. Now, what does cybersecurity do? I know you've all heard of data breaches. I know if you're a Chase like me, I get letters all the time. Somebody stole your information. What you're gonna do? You need a new bank account. Okay. Chase, Wells Fargo. You name it. All of that data breaches. Well, what this program does is it teaches you how to secure systems for companies. How to be the one who sits there. In fact, one of our programs here at the college, we train folks now in that what they do is go out to companies who basically come to us and they just sit there and watch data going back and forth, and they know by the software if there's somebody trying to get in who shouldn't be there. Now that's a side hustle that actually you come here after you're done, we can actually get you certified in that'll bring in more bang to your pocket. So I'm telling you, of all these programs here tonight, and they're all really good, but these are very, very high-end programs that after this program, and as Mark said, after you go through this program, we will push you to get the 2-year degree. Then we're going to tell you to get the 4-year degree, because the more education you get, the more that salary goes up as you move through. And these salaries for UX UI design, for stack developer, and for cyber move up significantly over the course of the years that you're in training. So, I mean, you've chosen this field, you've chosen the right field, and you've chosen a great program, and you decided to go through it. I'm telling you, mom and dad, I think you need to really look at these, because I know you're looking like, I'm going to pay all this money over 4 years when they go to school. They can help you with it now, because they can make a lot of money going through, while they're in the program, because of T-Mobile's assistance, but even once they're done with the program, they'll be in line to get really, really high-paying jobs, hopefully at T-Mobile, but they'll have all the knowledge to go forward in cybersecurity or in one of the other programs. I also want to tell one thing that Mark said earlier, but I want to clarify. Edmonds used to be considered a community college, and we're still community. We're still all about community. We're still a community college. But about 4 years ago, we changed to a four-year institution. That's why now we're called Edmonds College. What that means is that you can get bachelor's degrees here. We have 6 Bachelor of Applied Science degrees, and in the fall, we're going to have computer science. A bachelor's degree in computer science. We're the first college that in UW or Washington State to have that designation. We start in the fall. These programs will mesh into that. As Mark said, there are applied, what we call CIS courses, but there are also computer science courses as a part of this. So if you want to get a computer science degree, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right here. That's something that I'm just telling y'all because not a lot of people know that. I think that's all I want to talk about tonight. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I'll be hanging around. So,
Thank you, Vernon.
you're welcome. Okay.
The third program we want to share with you is what is known as UX/UI design. And again, this is a new program that is part of the Career Launch program. And I want to invite Frank Kadwell. Frank? And you just advance right there.
Okay, can this working? There we go. All right, so UX UI designer. First of all, just to dovetail on what Vernon mentioned, so I'm the department chair of the ITAD, which is the Information Technology Application Development 4-year degree, so I'm the person that helps people through that as well. But talking about UX UI design, and just to dovetail off of what everybody's been talking about, UX UI design, a UX UI designer is basically the person at the front end who is getting all the work done, designing how the thing is actually going to work so that it functions for people that are actually using interfaces. And so it's all around user experience. And the thing about user experience is that over the years, it's become a lot more important because it's about designing a useful product, but it also directly correlates with company revenue. So companies that have good UX, UI design are actually seeing better revenue numbers come through. And so with that correlation, then a company gets more interested in actually hiring people to do UX, UI design. And so it's been steadily increasing, even though in the past, quite honestly, it's been somewhat neglected. So there's more positions, of course, leads to higher demand translates to higher salaries. It's a market-driven job at this point, so that means that organizations continue to increase demand, the salaries will continue to go up. So according to research, as far as yearly salaries, etc., a junior designer who's just starting out is somewhere around the 60K range, and then you increase up to about the 140K, with 160K being the top, and those are people that are usually managing UX and UI teams. Also, the UX and UI dovetails very closely with the full stack developers because they have to work tightly together to make sure that that design and everything is working properly, both for the users and the developers. So again, you have your time. They've talked about all this stuff, I guess. Sorry. But yeah, so you have between your junior and senior year of high school, you're going to T-Mobile. Then you come to Edmonds College. Again, I come from another state actually originally. This is a very unique program. It really is. And to actually get paid for something between your junior and senior year of high school is a big deal. Then you take another year of classes, and again, right around that 60 college credit range, which is quite a good start and a healthy start for college. Also, I just want to kind of give a personal quick story. I actually taught some of the T-Mobile classes last year, and I actually had somebody text me, a student that texted me, who is just having a wonderful time. He actually got a job at T-Mobile, and you know, for an instructor, that kind of makes my day, I'll say that. He texted me about how much fun he's having and what a great job it is and how he's really enjoying it. So it says a lot about T-Mobile and what's going on. Sorry, that was kind of quick, but I handed it back over to Mark. Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about eligibility, and then we're going to kind of get into so what do I do if I'm interested? So in terms of eligibility, first of all, you must be a current junior in the Edmonds School District. So my general assumption is that all of you are. We kind of put that in the information that we sent out to you. The other is you have to be 17 years old by July 10th. So those are two of the just basically status questions in terms of your grade level and age that are part of eligibility. And the third, I'll just reiterate, is that you must be committed to entering the workforce upon completion of the 2-year program. What I'm not saying is that you must be committed to stop your learning at the end of the 2-year program. Because what has been referenced is, and is very true, the more you learn, the more credentials you attain over time, whether that be certificates, degrees, whatever it might be, the more your earning power becomes. The advantage to a program like this is, and for parents, again, I speak to you, with working for a company like T-Mobile that has tuition assistance and partnerships with training programs such as Edmonds or others, your student can continue to earn and accumulate credentials, whether they be certificates or degrees, while working without accumulating debt. And debt is kind of the not mentioned secret to post-secondary education that we have to be mindful of. Debt is real. And this is just a great opportunity. So again, committing to the 2-year program, entering the workforce upon completion, but that doesn't mean you stop learning and stop earning your credentials. The other, and Remy, do you want to speak to this one about the vaccination requirement?
And I do want to just have Kristen wave and introduce herself. She's a recruiter on my team, so for any applicants, she'll be working with your application, and feel free to ask her questions after the presentation is over. So vaccination requirement. As of right now, in order to enter a T-Mobile building, you do have to be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated right now, that's okay. You can still apply. You can wait and see if you get in. But at the time of starting, you must be fully vaccinated. And this is really just to make sure that everybody's protected and everybody's safe and everybody feels secure in their work environment. Things could change in the next couple of months. Maybe this will be lifted. But as of right now, it is something that in order to physically badge in, you do have to be vaccinated. And unfortunately, it is a commitment we have to make. But anything else you want me to add to that?
I don't think so. Just, yeah, that's kind of a unique element to T-Mobile.
It is.
I want to make sure that you had a chance to speak to. Thank you. All right. And so the last thing I'm going to cover before we open it up for questions is kind of the application steps and the timeline. The first thing, before you even apply, we are recommending, if you are interested, that you attend our open house at T-Mobile for this Explorer Prep program on February 9th. It'll be February 9th, 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Bellevue campus. And again, I'm going to be sending this information out to you afterwards. So if you didn't capture it, you will have the slide deck. You will need to register to attend. And students can register, family, parents, you can attend. We encourage you to attend. And at this event, you'll get to meet managers and learn more about the T-Mobile experience there on the campus. So you get a chance to walk it and see it and ask questions. So again, that is February 9th, 6 p.m. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to put a QR code up on screen so you can just simply scan in with your phones and register. And if you aren't sure and you want to think about it, again, check your email tomorrow. You'll get that QR code in your email. The actual application for the program will open on March 1st. And I'll be reaching out to all of you, sending you notification that, hooray, it's March 1st, the application's open. It'll be a Google form, and in the Edmonds School District, students, you are probably very familiar with Google Forms, so that's what we use. And the application will be due by 5 p.m. on March 30th. So you have the entire month of March to get started and complete that application. I am going to be hosting 2 online information sessions for the application for those that want assistance or have questions. I just basically am going to walk you through the application and then give you a chance to ask questions about what is required of you. Those are going to be on March 2nd and March 7th. And again, I don't expect you to remember that now, but I will be reminding you as the closer we get to March in the application. And those are really helpful because everyone has questions and everyone's afraid to ask. And so I just go ahead and go through the entire application, and hopefully your questions are answered. And then if not, you can always contact me on the side, and I'm happy to answer the questions. There will be, just to kind of give you an FYI, there will be some short answer questions that you will be required to respond to. Again, once the application opens, you'll see those and give you some time to think about it because we want you to be thoughtful. You will also need to have a resume. And so you may want to start thinking about a resume. And again, we're going to have staff lined up to assist you in your high schools. And they will be at those information meetings in March as well. So we're trying to put as many supports in front of you as we can to help you with this. All right. So that is the program in an overview. There is more detail that you can learn at the February 9th event. But with the time remaining, we want to open it up to you for any questions that you might have of any of our presenters, whether it be our T-Mobile partners, our Edmonds faculty, or myself with the Edmonds School District. And we'll just have a floating mic.
If they're already in Running Start right now and are going towards some sort of associate's degree, how does that impact the classes they would have to take the senior year? Or do they switch paths of whatever Running Start they're in now?
So the question, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat the question because we are taping this. So I think the question was if they're already if a student is already full-time enrolled in Running Start and working toward an associate's degree, how does taking these courses and pursuing this program intersect or impact that? So, Ann, do you want to speak to that one?
Sure. So that frequently happens. And in case you forgot who I am, my name is Ann, and I am the director of a career center here at the college. And I worked with students all through this program. It could very well impact that path because the 13th year, right, the year after high school, the 13th year will be full with the classes that they need to take to finish the certificate. one of three that they choose. They choose one path or another. So you need to consider that. Does that make sense?
How do we consider it? What questions would we know to ask?
Well, you need to ask yourself, if you're on a path right now in an associate's degree, then you have to make a choice. Now, you can finish your associate's degree. It's just that in order to participate in this program, be ready for interviews and more than likely a hire with T-Mobile, you have to finish the certificate.
Right, and so I can maybe address that as well. The courses, the coursework required of you for the certificate that you would need to take in that year after high school in this program is going to be very concentrated on these paths, as opposed to what you would take for kind of a general associate's degree. And so that's where there would be an impact. You are really focusing on a career-focused certificate path in the program that is not an associate's degree path. So, and it has to do with basically the course requirements. Yeah.
So, and I will say, in designing these certificates, we have worked with the subject matter experts at T-Mobile and to design coursework that matches what they need. So it's kind of a direct path. And so that's why we're pretty firm on that.
Question?
Thank you. First of all, where was this 25 years ago? Or maybe 20 years ago, right? I noticed there wasn't really any talk about GPAs, high school classes required, or standardized testing. Is that something that is required, or?
I can speak to that. It is not. What we're looking for is commitment, and I'm not looking for somebody who, having programming experience is always helpful. That is a background you bring to the table, but it's not a prerequisite. That's part of this program, is to really train you from that point of having no programming experience to being able to step into the IT field in 2 years. So we have no standardized testing requirement. We have no GPA requirement. What we're looking for is commitment and a passionate commitment to complete the program. Obviously, we want students who are engaged in school. That's a critical element because being engaged in school means that you are moving forward to completing high school and moving on to graduation. But we're not looking at a high bar that we're sifting out students at all.
And Anne can probably speak to this. During the program, for the coursework, you would have to make sure that you pass those courses. So if someone academically doesn't do well for the certificate courses, it could delay when they interview for T-Mobile, or if it's a consistent issue, they may be dropped from the program.
Right. If you don't pass it the first time, that's good. We really do look at effort. And it could delay, but we really look at effort and commitment and participation.
So I just want to add on, parents, this is a conversation that you guys need to have together with your student and a decision you need to make together, because it is a big commitment. We're asking for a 2-year commitment. We're asking you to come to Bellevue, 40 hours a week, potentially up to 40 hours a week. Some managers say, yeah, let's do hybrid, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, you work from home, but it's a commitment. So really just talk through with your student the decision to pursue this. Because you guys are involved too. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and I want to say too, it's perfectly fine to leave tonight and decide this isn't a good fit. That's really what this is about. It's kind of an information meeting to help figure out if it's a good fit. We're not looking for anybody to change their goals. If you're on a path and that's something you've talked about as a family and this doesn't fit in there, pursue your goals. Go the route you're going. We just want to put this out there as an opportunity for those that might be looking at something a little different, or maybe something you just haven't considered, that's available to you. Have any other questions? Yeah, one right up front.
So the question that I had was in regards to interview prep. So 2-year course leading all into this, and then that puts a lot of pressure for the interview itself. And so my question is, how prepared are students going to be for the interview itself?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that throughout the course of the 2 years, they should be preparing for. Asking the host managers that they're working with, hey, what do you evaluate when you interview someone? At the time they get to the interview at the end of the 2 years, we know that they have the skills. So we're not going to be assessing them with a test or taking metrics on how they perform in those technical skills. We are going to be assessing those soft skills, things that we can't train at T-Mobile. So what is your growth mindset? How have you collaborated during your time here? How have you worked with others? What projects, what impact have you made? So that's what the interview looks like, but our program manager does prepare all of the participants for that interview, and she also works with the host managers to ensure that the questions that they are asking are aligned with what we're looking for to hire.
Question right over here.
How many hours are they working over the summer? Is that just like a full-time job when they? I actually have 2, so that's one of them.
Yeah, so it is 40 hours a week for 8 weeks.
Okay, and then the next question during the interview process that you said you're doing, is it a one-person interview? Is it an hour long? Is it 4 people? Is it a 4-hour interview?
That's a great question.
That's a good question.
Because is it just one person making the decision, or is there a team? And if they're going to interview it as a team, does it come down to a team
Yeah,
voting?
so there's 2 interview steps. One is at the end of the program itself, when you're interviewing for that full-time position. The first, just to get into this program, after the application is reviewed, those who are being moved forward to the interview event, it's kind of like speed interviewing. So we call it manager match. And what the students get to do is they get to interview directly with the teams that they would be working with over the summer. So it's not someone who doesn't know what they're going to be working on. And that also helps build that investment from the host team in the beginning. So as they go through this speed interviewing, they will rank the teams they prefer to work on, and then the host teams will also rank students of who they would prefer to come on their team. Every year that we've done this, we've hired everybody.
So basically, the people that they're interviewing with are the people they've worked with, like during the
Yes.
summer through all that. So it's the same team.
Yes, and it's very rare that someone doesn't make it past that matching process. That's why we don't even really call it an interview, we call it manager match. Because we're really at that point just deciding who are you going to work with over the summer.
Oh, one more thing. So during the work over the summer, when they work, are you rotating them into different groups at that time too?
During the summer, you would stay with the same team throughout the entire 8 weeks.
Okay.
Great question.
So in regards to the interview process, what's the case in which they don't actually pass the interview? Is it just the one-end road, or?
Great question. So why would somebody not be moved forward in the interview process? And really it's just if during the evaluation they decide this isn't a right fit for you because we don't see you coming here after the 2 years. The one time I do remember somebody wasn't moved forward, it's because they expressed a passion for nursing, right? And so there's nothing at T-Mobile that we could do if they want to go into nursing. So it's really just if you don't seem to have an interest in learning the technology, if you don't seem to have an interest in wanting to be there, then that's what's going to avoid you from getting the offer for the program itself.
For the summer internship, what does time off look like for the students? Like, I know it's going to be a full-time job, hour-wise, but what if the students have other commitments or maybe a family vacation pops up because it's summer? What would time off look like in that case?
That's a great question. So what does time off look like if I'm going to be spending my summer working? So we do have students accrue paid time off at 5.85 hours a week. So by your second pay period, you have 10 hours that you can take off. What that does, it allows you to take time off and still get paid. However, let's say I have a big family vacation, my third weekend, I haven't accrued enough time off. You can work with your manager to take unpaid time. So we are very flexible in saying we understand, hey, this is your summer, you have other commitments. Now, if you have maybe like a 4-week vacation during the program, that could cause a problem, but we definitely do understand taking a week off for something that's already been planned.
To follow up on my wife's earlier question, so in talking about like the process of like once we've decided and going through the speed of how fast, you know, going through the speed, you know, everything, the question that we're actually asking is more of like, we've already run into issues like scheduling issues with classes with Running Start already. And run into trying to solve those problems with our school, so not necessarily here, but with our school, has created like a communication thing. And so I would hate to kind of like go through this, run through any kind of friction at our school to not get into the program the way that we would want to.
Yeah, and this isn't the right question for me to answer, but what I would do in your situation is work with the counselor who knows what courses are required for the associate's degree, when those are being scheduled, and then also see which courses overlap for these certificate programs, because I imagine there's going to be some overlap. Yeah, so if there's overlap to senior year, I'm going to let Ann answer that.
So here's what if I was a parent, here's what I would say. And I guess what I would say is someone who works at college. If you've already taken the bottom line is that you have that certificate, right? So if he's already taken some of the classes, that opens up room to take a couple of other things. 13th year.
Yeah, quickly, how many spots are in the program for the class?
So our target is to get 15. We have flexibility to go up if there's more than qualified students, but our target is to get 15, 5 for each program. So 5 cyber, 5 full stack, 5 UX UI.
So after the program, would I be able to like still go to college? Because the way it seems is that like after you finish the program, you immediately go into working and not being able to actually go to college and get a degree.
Yeah, that's a great question. We want you to go to college and get a degree, but what this allows you to do is work and get that degree. Because as it's been said many times, college is very expensive. So let's say though, at the end of the program, you decide to go to school out of state and you can't necessarily work in the office. Then of course that means that you wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to work full-time at T-Mobile. So you can go to college. If you work full-time at T-Mobile, there are tuition reimbursement programs. There are schools that we've partnered with where your tuition is completely free. So that's one of the advantages of pursuing this path. But if you get into your dream school that's out of state, then we understand that plans change. You just want to know that at the beginning of this, you're committed to coming full-time. Did I answer your question?
What should we do for, how do we know if our spot is secure?
So the question is, how do we know if the spot is secure at the end of the program? I'll be honest, I'm not going to make a commitment or a guarantee that you're going to have that spot because you do have to interview for it. You do have to show that while you were there at T-Mobile, you were able to take things away, make an impact,
However, let's say you don't do well on that interview. That hasn't happened before. We have invested in you, you have invested in us. We're gonna give you another opportunity to try, right? So we'll coach, we'll correct, we'll see what went wrong, and then we'll give you another opportunity.
When would we get our child enrolled in Running Start?
That's a Mark question.
Yes, so the plan in terms of this timeline is that selection will be in May. And so we'll know who the students are, and Ann and I are gonna be working directly with the Running Start office to get the students registered before school ends this year. So, and we know the specific courses that you need to be in, we have those down. And so for the fall quarter, we're going to get you registered in May, late May, early June. And then again, you'll register prior to the subsequent quarters working with your counselors. And again, we will be working with your counselors as well, giving them the map of the courses your student needs to take.
So you will be doing the registering the first time?
You'll be registering the same process that you would go through with the school. You have to work with your counselor. But for students selected in this program, we're going to provide a little extra, I'll call it shepherding, in the process to make sure that that counselor knows and that what class you need, and that we are reserving a spot here for you in the program.
I just want to add really quick to your question. So if you know for a fact that you want to go to a four-year university after this, and you don't want to work full-time, then it's okay to say that this program isn't for me. We created this program to create access to the full-time workforce for fields that typically require a four-year degree without having it. So this was intended for people who knew they weren't going to be able to go to college. So I just want to say it's okay if this isn't part of your plan, because it's a great question. But we want to be able to create access to work full-time without needing a four-year degree in a well-paying, growing field.
That's my last question. So another concern would be being in an industry that values and champions having a degree in the field that you're in. Would there be ramifications from that, for the students just having a certificate instead of having a degree in this line of work? Speaking specifically for UI UX.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. There are several companies that won't even consider a resume if you don't have that four-year degree. It's true, it happens. However, there are a lot of companies that will accept certificates to work in the technical field because it's a very competitive, growing field. So when you ask about ramifications, it's very much possible that it could be tougher to find a job if that person decides to leave T-Mobile, right? But what we're committing to T-Mobile is, hey, we're gonna help you get your foot in the door right after high school because we can help pay for your college. So it doesn't mean that someone can't earn their degree after starting. It just means that they get to work full-time and earn their degree. So if your personality is like, I can't work and go to school, then this may not be the best fit for you. But why not be able to earn a full-time income upwards of, $60,000 or more, and actually be able to get your degree at the same time so that you don't graduate with a ton of debt. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm clear that it's what I was talking about earlier is that whether you go to another institution, I'm not telling you to stay here, but I'm going to say here at the college we do have bachelor's degrees. We have the bachelor's degree BAS and applied in information technology application development, which all of these programs fit under. So what we're working on now, if you go and get your certificate, you go work at T-Mobile, But what we want you to do is continue to come here and take classes to get that bachelor's. And once you get that bachelor's in application development, you can go anywhere. That is the issue. You don't want to stop. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. And we also have the BS now, start this fall in computer science. Those classes also, these classes you're taking here, also can be utilized in that program. So there's a lot of cross-pollination between the programs we have at the college. Don't go, and I'm just telling you, don't go through any certificate program and think that's it. We want you to, you know, what part of my issue is my division, I consider it lifelong learning. I also have senior programs for those that are over 60. We have child camps in the summer. So it's not just this is not a one-stop, no, we're a one-stop shop, but for everyone. Don't stop, continue your education.
And you might not be able to answer just yet. So basically, you are offering the certificate, so it's a 2-year program. They get done, they go to their job, and then they want to continue on with their education. The next bit is you just said come to the school. So basically, it's work the 40 hours. Do they offer a lot of these classes that can be continued on for your bachelor's in computer science? Is that going to be something that they could take the majority of it online, or is it all in class?
Online. Since the pandemic, about 80% of our classes are online. So, I mean, it wasn't
I just wanted to double check.
It wasn't that way 2 years ago. I don't know if I like it because, you know, you lose a little bit of campus life with having all the students here. But either, let me put it this way, they're either online or what we call high flex or hybrid, which means you might come to class, campus a few times a quarter, or you may come every other week. We're also doing this what we call high flex, which the student gets to pick if they want to come to campus, or they can go online, and they can do that any class, every class. So there's a lot of different things we have now, because since the pandemic, we're kind of catering to the fact that we know people work, and we know that students want to have that flexibility. And so, yeah, it's not like, you know, it's not like when I went to school and you had to come to campus every day. We have a lot of programs where we don't even see the students until they graduate.
Is the job only working in Bellevue, or is it going to be throughout the state, or?
Yeah, for Washington, it's just the Bellevue offices. However, if they're, like, we do have Overland Park, Kansas, if that's an option. Yeah, but for Washington, it's unfortunately just Bellevue.
I mean, like not Yakima or Spokane, or?
Great question. Do we have other questions? We'll make sure we give you time.
You know, you can also ask some of these questions at the info night at the open house, at the T-Mobile headquarters.
All right. Well, following Ann's comment. So, following that, I will be, as I mentioned, I'll be sending you follow-up email tomorrow with a copy of the slide deck. And if you're like me, I tend to leave meetings and then realize the question I should have asked and didn't. That is okay. You're going to have my email. You can reply back to me and say, you know, Mr. Madison, what about this? And if I can't answer it, I will get it to the person in our team who can. But I do want to just kind of, again, reference the February 9th open house event. I have put on screen the registration link, so if you are interested in attending, you can go ahead and scan that, and it will take you right to the registration site. And with that, I want to thank all of you for attending. If you could join me in just thanking our presenters tonight, just a quick round of applause. Thank you. Appreciate your time and expertise and support for this program. Again, be looking for an email in your district student Gmail tomorrow morning with some follow-up information, and then hopefully we will see some of you, or all of you, at our February 9th open house. All right, have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.